Big business and the government are trying to sow the seeds of dissent among our ranks at a time when we need solidarity.
You know, I'm going to say it because no one else will say it. Our opening theme song does not have to go that hard. It's pretty fucking good.
Well, look,
For
we
a
have to
fucking-
start strong. We got to suck them in somehow.
A shitty slap together podcast, but like, hey. It's some fucking quotes from The Irishman.
Hey, man, if Daft Punk is dead.
Yeah.
Well, not dead, broken up. I shouldn't scare people like that.
Are you comparing that song to Daft Punk?
It's got a vibe.
Okay.
Well, now
I
that there
don't
is no
endorse
Daft
that.
Punk, you know?
Okay.
Sam,
No, I like,
Sam brought the Daft Punk, not me.
I like the that thought train better. That now Daft Punk's gone, somebody's got to take their place.
You know, real quick about Daft Punk, only because I just
Sure.
looked this up yesterday and I realized again that remember like about a year ago, there was an article that came out that Daft Punk would be scoring Dario Argento's new movie. And it
I
was
don't
confirmed.
remember that.
And I went on IMDb when I realized this literally last night. And I was like, that's still a thing? They're still credited officially. So I don't know what the hell that means.
They
Might
already
be the
did it.
last thing
But
that
maybe
we
Daft
get.
Punk is a bunch of dirty tricksters.
But they could already did it.
That's possible.
That's what I'm
Probably.
thinking.
They
Yeah,
could have already did it.
But this is not a podcast about that.
Wait, this is certainly not a podcast.
At all.
No, this is a what?
A podcast,
A
baby.
podcast?
Podcast with
Pot
a T.
with a
Yeah.
T?
Okay, but what podcast-
P-O-T-Y-A-S-T.
But what podcast is it?
Oh, that would be the Chronic Canon.
Are there
Hell
other
yeah.
podcasts? If
No,
there are, can
it
you
was ju-
let us know?
I
What's in?
It was a good lead-in.
This might be a copyright issue.
How can they let us know?
We got dibs.
Somebody say the things.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
boy.
smoking movies and we're talking weed.
no.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're live in our ears and not in yours.
And if you don't like heat, you gotta go.
It's okay if you haven't
Being
seen
the
it.
Michael Mann movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
yes.
should- do we need to clarify that?
Because people like heat in a lot of different forms, I'm sure. Heat
Like
carries
warm?
multiple-
Dude, what if someone
don't
was
like
listening? They're like, if you're the only heat.
Well,
get the fuck
imagine
out.
if somebody's wearing a heated blanket as they listen to this.
Okay,
They're like,
but-
fuck. And
okay.
they turn us off before
But
they're
then
like,
we
I
do
love
follow
that
it with
movie.
if you haven't seen it. So
yeah, if you haven't seen it, that's fine. If you actively dislike Michael Mann's masterpiece Heat, you gotta go. We're saving you time, we promise.
So if you're that fast to the point where you hear if you don't like heat and you immediately turn it off before you get a chance to hear the it's okay if you haven't seen it, which I guess is like, I've never seen heat. I've only felt it.
Hey,
Okay.
I must
was it
go.
around the corner?
Good one. Good one. That was a heat. That was the heat quote.
That
of
was
the
a
day.
high concept
That is
heat
the
joke.
That is the Heat quote of the day. It's been a while since we've done this.
Okay, in
What's the
case you
last-
couldn't tell, it's
What?
been a minute
Yeah,
since
we're doing-
we've done this.
Hey, we're doing.
It's normal for you guys. We will have there will have already been an episode before this one, so it
Good.
won't sound like it's been a minute. But
But
for
it's
us,
been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's fine. They love it. We love it. You tell us how much you love it at our email. The
thechroniccanon@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Or
Or
you can
on
follow us
Twitter.
on Twitter
At Chronic Canon.
Okay, I just forget which one's the and which
Yeah,
one's not.
me
the,
too. That's
right?
why I never say it.
Well, you know, on the
Somebody's
social
gotta keep
social
track.
media, you know, I learned from the social network that you drop the. It's clean.
But we have a the.
Only in the email.
Dude, can you imagine if it was the Facebook, like your grandma calls it? I was on the Facebook the other day.
If you never knew
just
the
Facebook.
difference, would it be weird?
I don't know, maybe.
What was your intro?
Yes.
There he is.
Okay, Howie, I'll tell you. So a good way for us to, ease back into the beauty of podcasting. I thought of a little scenario, and I want to know how you guys would handle it. How many
Okay.
12-year-olds do you think you guys could beat, like in a battle?
Could beat?
Beat in like a fight. I'm and I'm gonna get specific.
So
Do you remember? Do you remember
we-
the stat? Do you remember the stats that I gave you earlier in
No.
our little group chat?
No, Sam.
The average 12-year-old is around 90 pounds and 5 foot tall. Okay, if we want to get specific, it's 88 pounds and 58 inches.
So how many could I be at one time?
So here's the
And
situation.
win?
Here's the situation. Not win.
It's just beat.
Like an
Okay.
endless
Like I
number
get
of 12
one.
How many times do I
get
have to
one
say-
hit in, and
How
that's
many
enough?
how many times do I have to say here's the situation before you let me explain the situation?
Explain the situation.
Here's the fucking situation. So it's gonna work out in waves. All right. So the first wave, there's one 12th grader. Second wave, 2. Third wave, 3. So on and so forth. How many of those waves do you think you could get through before you're bested by the 12th graders? In order to give you guys some time to think about this,
Wait, did you say 12th graders?
no
You
12-year-olds.
did just
I
now.
meant
You
I definitely did say
12-year-olds.
12th graders.
You meant 12.
That's a lot harder, you know.
I got questions after, but finish your bit.
No. This isn't a bit. This is the question, and
I
that is.
understand. What? How did you get here? Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just like
I was thinking about it.
honestly, I feel like a lot of waves for like not like too many, but like quite a few.
You
only
gotta think.
because
You gotta think about it though. Like numbers do matter.
numbers do matter, but I feel like they're also stupid, and I'll be able to like outsmart a
Outsmart
big group for a little while. But then eventually there's gonna be a number where it's
Yeah.
overpowering, and I'm just fucked.
Yeah, but how many?
Yeah, but
Like
hold on.
15.
We're trying to generalize all 12-year-olds. for
yes,
one
I'm
thing.
talking about
Correct.
for this specific scenario. Every
It's
12-year-old
every
is your
average
average 12.
How come all I can see is the fucking scenes in Spy Kids where like the fucking clone robots
Okay, but it's
come
not the-
after you? Like that's
if
all
one of
I'm
those
seeing
kids
in
came
my head.
after you, they would
All
fuck
the-
you up.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is the 12-year-olds wearing those silver suits.
No. This is your average, like down the street at the middle school kid picking his nose. Like, come here.
Yeah,
He's got
Why?
tattered jeans, of some type of flannel. Not
sticking
flannel,
with-
but
I'm sticking
plaid.
with 15.
15 waves.
Yeah.
15 waves. So that means that
That's a lot of
that's a
number.
lot of total, but he's saying
Do I
that
get like a
15 at
5-minute
once.
break?
I'd say like you get a little break before they can gather the rest of the 12-year-olds.
15.
You know, like a little like
there a
breather in
tree?
between each
I
wave.
imagine it's a very open field with one tree. That's what's in my head,
One
and that
tree.
tree's gonna give me everything.
When I thought of terrain, I thought of like a room.
What is this?
I'm trying. I just want to know how many you guys could take.
All right, answer. Both of you. I answered.
I think in a hypothetical world, I take at max like 3 or 4 before I'm like, oh god, what is this?
No. In this situation, you like
It's
press
do
the
or
button.
die.
It was
So what?
press-
This
you-
is like the Dead by Daylight queue. Like you're eternally trapped
Yes.
and they have to.
Well, if you
Get in
impress
fights
me,
with 12-year-olds?
if you impress me with the amount of 12-year-olds you can beat, I'll release you
Whoa!
from the infinite 12-year-old room,
from the entity. Okay.
from the entity.
I agree.
I
I
think-
think after the first one, I'd be like, what's going on?
I think there would be a certain point. I think, you know, when I see, you know, a little kid, a snot-nosed little kid, you know, and they're trying to attack me, I feel like I would forget, you know,
It's a kid.
the moral quandaries. Not that it's a kid. The fact that it's a kid would just be like, why are you doing this to me? You know how easily I could defeat you? I will.
50 times?
The only reason I thought about this is because I was like, all right, you know, 1 or 2 12-year-olds. And I was like, well, I don't know, man. 3 or 4, you're starting to get a little dicey. And I was like, yeah, but they're fucking 12. And then I thought about using the children as the weapons. And that changed everything for me.
So what?
I think that I could get
like
to
the
about,
children you've
it was
already
crazy. You
beaten
said
down, or like using them in action.
He's saying like knock one out, pick them up, and start swinging.
yeah. So using the. Okay.
or you
So
know,
what
they're just
number?
like they're so small. You
So
know,
what number?
I was saying it's crazy. You said 15 because I was thinking like 15, 16. Because probably around wave 15, they would start to copy my tactics. They would come strapped with other 12-year-olds, and I wouldn't be ready to face multiple weaponized combatants.
Great. Thank you for that. Of course, we're a film podcast. Today we're talking about Before
We're a film what?
Sunrise podcast.
God damn it, man!
What do you want?
I want to know how many 12-year-olds Jessica beat.
I said 3 to 4 rounds
Wait,
before I
you're
started to
sticking
feel
with
really
that?
bad about it.
No. This is a world where you can't feel bad about it.
I am null of all emotion.
Yes. It is only physical capabilities.
You're Dougie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't you dare.
You're Dougie.
Fucking get out of here. You. Oh, I
mean, he's
know
ro-
Twin Peaks. Give me a fucking break. Spit that water back out, you bitch. This is the water and this is the well. Drink full. You do not.
Give me the blood, Lord.
I'm close enough.
See, doesn't even get it. Anyway,
How many? I want to be over this bit.
let's just say, I don't know, 15, 16.
Great.
You know, I
This
don't
has been the
understand.
Chronic
When I
Canon.
was thinking about this, when I was thinking about this
I'm
earlier,
Jesse.
I was like, this is going to... Oh, I'm Brandon. I was thinking,
We
this is going to
haven't
be...
done that. Yeah.
We did.
No, we didn't.
we did.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't.
That was the first
Jesse,
time.
in the future, please rewind to show these current folk. They know.
Hello, listeners and past Chronic Canon Boys, as well as future Chronic Canon Boys, now listening to the podcast on your car radio, your headphones, what have you. Just here to tell you, future Jesse is here to tell you that, Frank, we did not say, I'm Frank, I'm Jesse, I'm Brandon, yet at this point in the podcast, it did happen for the first time, as it had just happened. This is Tenet. We live in a Twilight world. It's all about a gesture. You know, I've never done this alone. This is pretty cool. I should take advantage of this time while I'm here. It's kind of weird. Echo! Yeah, right. The fun only lasts so long. Vertigo is an amazing movie. I have the floor, so I have full right to just take over for a sec and let y'all know that Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, great movie, perhaps the best movie. Not as good as It's a Wonderful Life. Maybe Jimmy Stewart is the top two. All right, I'm going to stop now. I'm sorry for being annoying. I heard you paid houses.
Or cut yourself in and going, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. Frank's an idiot.
Yeah. I didn't think about. No, I'm confident.
Or I cut in, I heard you paint houses. Done.
Sure.
Anyway, Before Sunrise.
If you couldn't tell by the way we were talking, we are talking about the Richard Linklater film, the first of a beautiful trilogy, Before Sunrise,
From 1995.
starring
course.
Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke.
Same.
Wow, holy, good job. Good
Same year.
shit.
Yeah, is that the first time you've ever identified?
Just
anything
pronounced it
correct?
correctly. That's at first. Like, you'll get it eventually.
Hey, same year as Heat, the king of the pack.
Makes
And
sense.
me.
Ethan Hawke was in both.
And Jesse. And Jesse's also a character in the movie.
That's true.
Let's just start there.
Okay.
Why not? How does that make you feel?
Oh, man. It's pretty rough every
Yeah.
time I go back.
It's rough. It's not like a little nice.
What's his, is his name James?
Yes.
But people call him Jesse?
yeah, and then
That's
she
like-
goes, Jesse James.
That's the
and he goes,
lamest shit.
Just Jesse.
That's so lame.
But that's a good exchange.
One thing that I do think is cool about our friendship is that our names are Frank and Jesse, so
Oh.
we can do the same thing.
When he
The
calls
brothers.
Well,
And in the
and,
movie.
and in the movie.
I forgot about that.
When
Yeah.
they're
That
doing the
was-
fake phone calls.
I wonder if that's
to my
because his
friend
whole
Frank.
life he's like, I'm metaphorically Jesse James. That's cool. No, he's not.
I don't think so.
But why does he go to Frank? Why does he go to that name?
Maybe.
Frank James.
Could be a subconscious thing because he wrote the Jesse James line earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
No,
That
it's just-
or they're communicating to us.
Yeah, probably.
Ethan, Julie, Rick, give us a call.
Yeah, we're
We
waiting.
heard you.
We know you listen.
Is it future or is it past?
Rick, I gotta say though, Boyhood, not your best.
Hey,
Others would definitely tell you differently.
concept sounds really dope, and I haven't seen it to say that,
I
it's
think
bad.
I think you'll like it, actually.
We randomly decided to watch Before Sunrise one day. I don't know why. Like we were just hanging out and we're like,
It's the movie we picked.
Yeah, it just happens. And Brandon had never seen it. Jesse and I
As with
both
most
loved
films.
it. And we were like, let's talk about it because we all loved it.
It was really good. There like certain movies that we watch, either non-canon related or canon related, but there's like this feeling of like, I want to do more with this movie. And before we had this podcast, whenever we felt that, it was like, what's the more that I can do with this movie? I guess write a lengthy review, but it doesn't really feel right. Like it feels good to like, yeah, this is how I feel. Let me put that out there, but it never feels like the more. So after watching Before Sunrise, and we all did it like together, and it was just the three of us. I feel like when we add other people to the mix, we're less keen to be like, let's make this a canon movie. But
Right.
it was just the three of us, and I don't know, there's just like this feel where we were talking so much to the point where we're like, why wouldn't we at this point? And we thought we could make it all dramatic and space it out the same way that, Linklater spaced it out, just not as many 9 years.
We're not doing the 9-year plan? We're gonna put that one back on the shelf. Okay.
I thought we signed contracts already.
In blood?
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, fuck.
You weren't there
Jesse,
for
you
that?
did the blood.
Was that not you?
Give me the blood, Lord.
Lord.
So yeah, so we're gonna do them later and try to not talk about the. Well, Brandon doesn't know anything
Anything.
about the other two. Later,
So we won't even
I
address
just know
them.
that there's
Yeah.
2 more, and I already feel shitty because I know that.
Let's not even
that
address
does
them.
suck. That literally does suck to know that this isn't the end of the story.
Yeah.
Like to concretely know it continues. Like, just I can't even imagine what that would have felt like in 2004 to be like, so
What now?
uh-oh, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You had 9 years of ambiguity right there. There had to be a certain point where people gave up.
A certain point when people gave up what?
Hope that there would be another.
Oh.
I don't think anyone would have. I would have never thought
I
that there
think
would have been another back then.
I
Movies
think
like that generally don't get sequels.
Rick has always joked the least successful movie ever to get a sequel. Like, it made very little money and it wasn't that well regarded at the time. Like, they were like, yeah, that's a good movie.
I think
Good
it's just
romance.
because they're tiny movies. you
Right.
know, very
So then
low
and then
budget.
just like all of a sudden, like, somehow convinced people to let them make a sequel is what they've always described it as. Like, I don't know how we got the approval, but we did. And then after Sunset, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Should I just? I'm gonna do it now. Just budget and box office.
Yeah, let's just get it
Just
out the way.
I half mentioned it. Only a $2.5 million budget in '95, which is 4.3 today,
That's so small.
and it made 5.5, which today is 9.4. So not even 10 million. It
Yeah.
doubled, but on a small scale completely.
Yeah.
So
Nothing to
this
make
is-
a dent in a production company to where they're going to be developing a sequel
right.
9 years later.
Isn't this Castle Rock or something? Like, isn't
Yes.
it like a weirdly big studio?
that or no? What's Rob Reiner's
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then it was distributed by Columbia. Which
Okay.
is crazy.
Yeah, very strange.
And this is his.
Well, I mean, it's hot off Dazed and Confused, so
Yeah.
Rick's a hot name at this time.
huge. How much did that? I actually don't.
Because that's
even
the
know.
same year. Well, no, that's the year before Pulp Fiction. So we're in the midst of the indie boom. Like
Right.
the indie movies are starting to flourish at this point.
Everybody credits Slacker and Sex Lies and Videotape. Like, those two being the things that it was like, oh, maybe we give new people money.
Stevie and Ricky bringing it back. Respect. We gotta love them.
Fucking respect, man.
Yeah,
Hold on.
absolutely.
Hold on, I'm trying to look up how much. Was Dazed and Confused a hit?
I don't know if it was a
Or was it just
commercial
like
hit
a-
necessarily, but they got the budget to get all the songs.
Say Slacker?
Actually, yeah, that was his like first big movie. He had like one other movie before that nobody's ever
You
seen.
talking about the writer?
Huh?
Richard Linklater.
Oh, okay.
Dazed actually. I know it was a popular movie and like right, it was hot, whatever, but it only made 8 million off like a 7 million budget. I didn't even realize it was home video where it like popped off and everybody was renting it constantly.
Right.
And it just like made a fuck ton there. Plus, that is a total TV. Okay, this is what I want to ask then. How do you guys feel about Ricky, my boy Ricky? L?
Ricky Ticky Taffy. I love him.
I've loved all the movies I've seen by him. And I like what he does with what he does with time is like what I want out of movies. And like the way that he tries to reflect it in the most like realistic way possible. Like a day is a day, but it also feels like a lifetime. And I mean, that's why I fuck with the idea of Boyhood. Like, you actually tried
Absolutely.
to depict this boy growing up by making him grow up in real time. And I understand that you can only do that like once. So good on you.
Well, there is the 7-Up series, which I've never watched anything
The
of.
documentary.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are cool.
which like
And that's,
But that's real.
reality.
Right.
Yeah.
right, which is like the problem with Boyhood. We've talked. Well, I don't think I'm
The
Mike,
problem with
but-
Boyhood is that it's too cinematic for its own good and also
Yeah.
too realistic for its own good in the
Right.
sense that it's like all the cinematic stuff is presented as mundane, but
And
it's
it's
still
not.
really big and over the top.
Yeah,
So it's like it's dramatic. Like it's trying to do very similar. It's trying to be like an Americana Fanny and Alexander, which as an idea is very, very good.
totally.
And I think even some of it is well executed, but I also think that
Completely.
like, he's an adult now. Fuck him. Eller Coltrane is not that good. So like,
no,
you know,
he's really.
I feel bad saying something mean about a kid, but like,
No, he's good when he's a kid. It's
Yeah,
when
he's
he's
better,
like a
yeah.
teenager. I think he's too aware of what's going on.
right.
And it's like,
It
right.
seems
that
like
is a
he's just
weird
showing up
thing
and
to-
hanging out,
Right.
as opposed to like actually being emotionally
I d-
invested in the movie. And no No real disrespect to you, Eller. I'm sorry.
I'm
You're a good
definitely-
guy, and you definitely gave a half a good performance.
I'm definitely
good
gonna
performance.
rewatch it before we finish this trilogy. Like, I want to see it again. I'm like, I owe it to Rick before just like permanently shitting on Boyhood. I'm like, you get one more try, because like you said, in theory, it's brilliant, and it is the best summation of his like clear fascination. Like, I mean, I haven't seen all his movies, but like all the big ones are connected over that thing of time. School of Rock and like A Scanner Darkly are outliers in that.
No, School of Rock is just as entrenched in it because of the
It's
fact that
about the
all the
passing of
all the
to
music.
youth.
Well, and the
Yeah.
classic rock. Like I think
You're
about
right.
that movie literally got me into it pretty much.
I know.
You know, and it was a huge part of my life for years, and that's
Still
all
is.
kind of because of Rick and Jack Black. I gotta credit him big time.
He talks about like, you know, people like to write off that whole like middle period where like, yeah, he wasn't doing like the School of Rock and Bad News Bears and whatever, but he's
Fast
like,
Food Nation.
right, but he was like, well, if somebody's gonna just make that, like I should make this. Like I know stuff about rock and roll. Like I like baseball. Like yeah, like I should do this. Like not somebody else. If like if somebody has to,
Well,
that's
that's
like cool, man.
that leads
You're
to
right.
the point of what I like most about Rick, and I think that just he's a genuine filmmaker. Like
Yeah.
he's a genuine artist in the way that he expresses himself through his medium.
Always, well, again, not always. All the great ones though are extremely personal.
I'm sure all of them are to a certain degree. I don't
The
think
Newton Boys.
well, I don't know.
I've never seen it.
I think about
Can't
all the
say.
people that are in it. You know, like
That's
Matthew
true.
McConaughey, Ethan Hawke, like people that he
Skeet
loves.
Ulrich.
Skeet Ulrich.
It's
Skeek.
metal. So
Uh,
Skeet.
I said Skeek by accident.
Skeek. Can you
Skeek.
imagine if somebody's name was Skeek?
Sounds like
Some
somebody
guy-
who stole your wallet.
Write it down. Good character name.
Wait,
Anyway,
is Skeet his real name?
yes, or at least
Did we
his
look this
stage
up
name.
before?
That'd be a really bad name to change to your stage name.
I mean, would it?
What's
Skeet?
that show?
Okay,
Rocco's-
he was born Brian Ray Trout.
That's a better name than
How the
Brian Ray Trout.
fuck did he come up with Skeet Ulrich?
Is it Ulrich or Ulrich? What are we doing? Back to Rick.
Hey, Newton
Uh,
Boys. It's at least.
I know.
It's not talking about.
I know, but then we were going off on a Steve-
12-year-old.
Hey, it was a good opener.
It was a
Got
gr-
your fucking
Listen.
gears oiled. That's all I cared
loved
about.
it for a conversational piece amongst friends. Just like somebody who's never listened, like, oh, Before Sunrise. Like,
Okay.
how many 12-year-olds
I-
could you fight?
I want them to think about it too.
You're right. You're right.
Now let's continue.
There's no expectation. Fuck you if you thought that was stupid. Can you play that back at like past me? I'm just kidding. Tenception.
Tenception. Okay.
We live inside a dream.
You guys like Tenet? Let's just take a quick pause. Do you guys like Tenet?
You being the audience. Yes, the people in the opening scene of the movie.
The year is 1994. Jesse meets Celine on a train.
Oh, he's had it. That's what's going on. Continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesse is not a girl. It is a man
It is I.
named Ethan
No.
Hawke.
No. His name's Jesse. He's played by Ethan Hawke.
Oh man.
That's what I literally just said.
Is it?
Maybe. Anytime you question me, I instantly forget. So
Good.
it never really works out.
Okay, so Jesse meets Celine.
On a train.
Yeah? Going to
Vienna.
good. And?
She gets off. And Jesse's like, can I come?
No,
No,
not at all.
literally wrong.
He has to get off. And she's staying on.
and he goes back to the dining car and he's like,
Come with
"Hey, look, I really don't know if this is a good idea or not. Like, I don't know if you're gonna go with me or not. But I was
only like
wondering-
90% smoother, but go on. Yeah.
I was just wondering if maybe, we got
Smooth
I got
as-
one more. I got to stay here for a night, and I thought maybe instead of getting a hotel, I could just walk around with you, and maybe we can walk around. You walk around?
It's Ethan Hawke, not Michael Cera.
Yeah, I felt like that was Travis Bickle.
It did. That's it. No, it's
Do you like Chris Christopherson?
it's the
The movie isn't about you're going into the plot, but it doesn't really need to even be explored that much because of the fact that this movie isn't centered on plot. It is true that it's good to establish that we're in Vienna. These two people meet by chance on a train. They decide to spend these 24 hours together, and that's all we have. And
Yeah,
that's
I'm
the movie.
setting it
he
up.
convinces her.
Yeah,
I
but
think that's
well, not too, and like it
like,
doesn't
not-
take much convincing.
it's a court. It's a court.
No,
Yes.
it's the
It's a meet
speech
cute.
that he gives is good. Like I fuck with the speech where he's like, you know, you should come with me because in 10 or 20 years when you're married and unhappy, you're gonna be wondering like, what if I left with that boy on the train?
Right.
And now you get to get up on that boy with the train and find out that he was just the same as everybody else. There's nothing of a guy, but hey, at least you know.
I read.
And she was like,
And you can also just go back to the train station if it sucks, you know, like
yeah.
like oh shit, I gotta go to the bathroom. And
I'm
then, like, fucking run.
Literally. They don't even know each other's names until they're off the train, which is
Yeah,
insane.
well, it's like as they get off the
Mhm,
train,
mhm.
which I mean, like yes, insane, but at the same time, like not totally, because I feel like those kinds of encounters that I've had with people, I'm not necessarily being like, oh, by the way, let me get your name. And I feel like
that's the
anytime,
first thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like I
nice,
want to know who
though.
I'm talking to.
Right. I guess that's the better thing to do. I'm just like, oh fuck, I probably should have gotten some more information.
names don't mean that much to
No,
me.
they don't. No, I guess they.
In terms of like, I know I'm gonna forget.
Hey, you know, words are feudal devices too. So
They are, but
Thanks.
we can't acknowledge that because we're a podcast, and this is only
These,
words.
All words are feudal devices except for ours.
Yeah, just kidding. We have no idea what we're talking about.
nope.
Clearly.
I do like though that they like literally the first thing when they're off the train is like them like standing there and then like, okay, this is kind of weird, and it's like, yeah, that is kind of weird. Like you're immediately in that like, okay, it's happening now. What I didn't think this far ahead. It was just like
literally.
let's get off the train, and then now
We're off the train.
and then that's that free flow feeling that drives the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you know what's the difference? Like I feel like lots of movies this became like a type of movie. Like that like people say like the before sunrise type romance. Like it started like I know it's not the first movie ever to be like a like meet cute, let's go talk. Like this is basically all
But-
Eric Romer movies, you know.
Yeah, but I guess I haven't delved too deeply into.
I've only
all
seen
the
a
kinds
few,
of-
whatever.
Right.
But like, it's not like
This is totally innovative.
right.
Yeah.
But there's what is the difference between this and like all the copycats that don't feel as like rich and real and like not movie-ish, but like it still clearly is because it pulls you in with like, yeah. What do you got? I was about to just start saying. What do you guys think?
I think it's just chance. I think it's you
Chance?
had the right people,
Oh.
you had the right time, you had the right place, and you had the right mindset and skill set. In the sense that the thing that I admire most about this movie every time I go back to it, because like whenever I'm not watching it, whenever I'm thinking about it, I'm always like, man, that movie's pretty fucking corny. Like it has a level of cheese to it,
Absolutely.
and it is very hokey. Like when you think about when you break down the scenes, like talking about them instead of experiencing it. But that's the thing. When you're watching it, the experience of it is so tactile. Like I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm in the shoes of the character, making it all the better that his name's Jesse. Ha ha ha. But like I also feel like that is not an experience out of my wheelhouse in terms of like I've never been to Vienna and had a 24-hour excursion with a stranger before.
What?
But I have had.
Jesse, we all
I've been lying.
Who hasn't?
But like I've had those kinds of romantic experiences where I watch the movie and I can tap into a feeling that I know I've experienced before
Yeah.
Summer camp.
in waking life, to drop a reference.
Ranger Rick.
What?
Hmm?
You're saying you and Ranger Rick at summer camp?
Why would you say that? I could never. That would get Ranger
What?
Rick in a lot of trouble.
I don't know. He's just making a joke I don't get.
Okay. Anyway,
Are you making a joke? Now I don't want to
Yeah.
minimize. Okay. Like what if you
I don't want to.
for the record,
You're such a good friend.
bad joke. Love you. Bad
Yeah,
joke.
bad joke. Just like what's going on, man? What's up with the kids?
Beat him up.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's the way the movie truly like expresses that feeling and emotion in such an authentic and genuine way. And I think the only reason that I can say that is accurate is because I felt it, and I know that not everybody would. So like
Sure.
I can't say that that's going to be an across the board success for everybody, but I think that this movie seems to, with the people that see it at least, more often than not resonate in the same way. Because I think if anyone has ever been in love or had that fleeting, because like there's nothing better than that fucking like
Totally.
the spark, the first moments with this new exciting person
Mhm.
that now you want to learn everything about and you want to spend all your time with. But in this particular case, if you're limited, you only have a certain 12 hours really, or is it a full 24?
No, it's not a full 24. It's like 5 p.m. to like 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah, he has to
Okay.
leave in the morning.
Right. So if that's the case, you don't even have that much time, and yet they manage to
14 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours, somewhere in there.
they experience a human connection that takes people many
No, like 8
times
hours.
meeting.
What? Sorry.
You're
Did
good.
Math wrong. Sorry.
No, you're good. That was pretty much my thought.
What were you saying?
That was my thought.
No, you weren't. Human connection. I don't remember what you just said. Fuck.
It's the thing that makes this the movie though is the human connection element of it normally takes days, a long period of time to
Mhm.
really get to the point that Jesse and Celine seem to reach at the end where but I don't know though. I feel like there are those serendipitous moments in life that you can just have that fleeting thing because that's another thing is like I said, I don't want to address the sequels really at all. But the idea that this shouldn't have gone further than this movie because that is so real. Like in
Mhm.
the concept that you don't meet again or whatever. But then even the second movie is like a movie concept. Like, of course they meet again, like
Ah!
classic movie.
Be
But
careful.
I'm not going further than that.
Okay.
But it's also earned by
Yeah.
the time they get to that.
Yes.
You know? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've definitely talked to you guys about this before, but the like the meta elements of Before Sunrise have to like lead to everything you're describing.
oh, adds
like
to the authenticity,
right.
100%.
I think in general, like the closer you can make the movie match reality is like you're always gonna have the more successful thing. Where I know I've said whatever, but the like where it's literally two strangers, two actors in a foreign country, made by the foreign director, like just getting to know each other over the course of it's 23 days in real life or however long they had to shoot, something like that. But, you know, one day in the movie, whatever, it's still the same concept. Like the thing you're doing every day is only one step removed by having a script and a camera. Like, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like those lines bleed together closer than they don't. And I think that is what Rick's always trying to do, you know? Because I get that this was based on like a day he had or whatever.
Yeah, like a real
like an
experience.
experience. Like obviously the details were changed. It was like in Philly or Pittsburgh?
It was in Philly, I think.
Philly. Like, but one night met the person, talked to them. They said they were gonna meet again, and like they didn't, or you know, they wrote to each other, but it fizzled out. He's like, of course, you know, but like it stuck with them, and it's like, how do you continue to capture that real feeling? It's trying to make it real. Yeah, it's great.
Well, it reminds me of what you were saying with what he did with Everybody Wants Some, where he had the team stay in a house together as a team before making the movie.
Or 6 weeks.
It was like 6 weeks.
Oh,
So it's like you're trying
6 months.
You're trying to blur. He's trying to blur those lines between, you know, cinema and reality to reflect the reality of the situation that the characters are in, and I think that makes you it makes you connect with it, relate to it more. Because yeah, obviously falling in love with a stranger on the train in Italy is like the farthest thing ever from me. But like
not Italy.
It's not Vienna's not in Italy.
It's Germany.
Oh,
or Austria.
Austria.
Yeah, Austria. They just speak German.
We're nailing it. You're thinking of Vienna.
Isn't that what I
or
said?
Venice.
Oh,
Venice.
You're thinking of Venice,
Yes,
Italy.
I
Yeah.
am.
Jesus, we're all.
Venice.
Hey, we all just fucked up. In the last
Remember
minute.
how we said we smoke movies and we talk weed earlier?
Hey, is there?
If this is your first time listening to this podcast,
hello.
hello, first of all.
Welcome.
We hope you're
Welcome.
doing all right. We're doing all right, right?
Yeah.
I feel pretty good.
We hope the 12-year-old
Yeah.
talk didn't turn you away
Yeah.
too quickly. Glad you're still here.
I did like it. Just
It was cute.
okay.
I thought it was gonna be really funny.
It
When
was.
I was like, at least that says a lot about me. The
I
fact
mean,
that
I'll be
all day-
laughing when I
all
edit it,
day-
for sure.
All day, I was fucking laughing about the idea of talking about how many 12-year-olds I could beat with my two best buds. Like I was just giggling. I was so excited to do it.
All right.
I was
like
like,
I am limiting the 12-year-old beating talk to one more time.
You guys,
So
I
you get
haven't
one more before
brought it
this
up.
episode is
Okay,
over.
okay.
I
So
know.
save it for the end because I know you'll want to round back. Okay? Back to the movie.
I actually I read something not too. I watched Dazed and Confused like making of documentary one time. I don't even know why, but like it's same
You
concept.
don't know why.
Like I
great.
hadn't recently watched the movie. It was just a random day. Like I got off work and was like, this is what I'm watching now. Again, don't know why. Whatever. And it seemed to have that same vibe of like, oh, everybody's gonna hang out in like the cliques that they're in the movie or whatever. And like and they're like, Rick was like, I couldn't keep track of people. Like if they weren't filming that day, they'd just all go hang out, like get drunk down at the river, or like sometimes people are like doing mushrooms. Then it's like, oh, now they're filming and shit like that. Like people were partying and just like, we're just having fun. And then Ben Affleck recently was like, I hated making that movie because everybody didn't like me, and I was like the outcast. And I'm like, yeah, because you had to be. And then it's like life imitating the art. It's like if Ben Affleck wasn't that character, would he have gotten along with those people?
And I think that
Who knows?
legitimately
That's
might
weird.
be Ben Affleck's best performance.
It's a little over the top.
It's purposefully
I
over
know.
the
I
top.
know.
It's
I know
hilarious.
he is perfect because I hate him.
Yeah,
Like
he's
that's what I was
so
thinking.
good.
I was like,
So
I was
good.
like, I didn't like him though. Oh, well then I guess he did good.
When he first shows
Yeah, when he
up,
first-
like, let's go get him, guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like, who the fuck are you?
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I was just walking your two sons home from school.
that movie's insane.
Oh, and we'll be seeing each other again."
So you both watched that not too long ago, right? Or was that like a year
Dazed?
ago at this point?
Oh, that was a long time ago now.
Okay.
Dazed? That was in quarantine. Like
Just-
start.
Just us two?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because then you're like, I want to be there for everybody wants some.
Yeah.
Mhm.
which
Yeah,
is
because it was already
the
something we
best.
were talking about watching.
That was
before.
actually, I think it'll be like a year ago this month is when we watched.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I can check.
Well,
I can look back in the records.
I watched it a month ago, I think, or maybe it was in January. Doesn't matter. I feel like Before Sunrise feels like a huge leap forward from like a filmmaking perspective. Like it
Yeah.
feels a lot more like confident and assured of like what it's pulling off. Not that like Days like does, but it's like I see all the seams in that one, but I feel like there aren't any in Before Sunrise. Like
Right.
actually,
Whatever it is you think that Before Sunrise is pulling off, do you think that it's pulling that off on purpose?
Yeah, definitely.
Now,
Like,
did you think that on the first watch, or do you only
Yeah.
think that after multiple times?
No. Very first watch, it built.
Frank
we
was
didn't-
adverse to watching it.
Yeah. We should
Like
talk about it.
I had to make him watch it.
It was
basically.
before midnight came out, like for sure.
It had
Like
to
the
have been
year-
at
like
least
the
like
year before.
a week or it was a year.
Well, like months before.
But was
'Cause
that the thing that convinced you to watch it?
No,
Also,
you did. It
For
was
the
you.
audience, this is rewinding the clocks back to when Frank and I were literally like 14. So, for
Mm.
context,
Yeah. Yeah, I would have been 14.
14.
Okay, so before midnight came out in May 2013, I know I watched Sunrise and Sunset in 2012. Then toward the end of the year.
for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I was
watched.
older.
I
Never
watched-
mind.
No.
Yeah, 2012.
Oh, I was thinking that was 10 years ago. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
quite yet.
I'd have been like 16, 17.
Yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah.
So still though, we're young and boys. But you watched them and were like, you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
And granted, the original DVD cover of Before Sunrise looks like a cheap Hallmark movie. It
The-
looks really rough.
With their like hands touching each
It's
other.
like one still JPEG, like put over. It's that picture that Frank is pointing to on his laptop. Sorry, listeners.
letterbox.
it's the letterbox
It's the
photo.
header. Yeah.
And it was over like a pink silk, like looking
So
backdrop
bad.
with like a really bad purple font, and it didn't look good. But then you watch the movie and you're like, oh
Don't
wow.
judge a book by its cover.
Well, yeah, exactly. The Criterion Collection really did
that does look
that
shady.
series
I wouldn't
justice.
watch
Why-
that.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. I was like, I wouldn't pick that up and go like,
But then the Criterions look great.
Yeah.
They really did a good job. But anyway, to get back to the movie itself, one thing that I think separates like what Frank was talking about between like Dazed and Confused feeling maybe a bit more discombobulated or a bit more like
It's like he's still
sophomoric.
Yeah.
In the way that he's not totally perfected what he can do yet. But if you think about how good Dazed and Confused is, because like I definitely think that I'm a bit more positive on it, like Dazed and Confused. But
I think it's great.
because I think that
5 stars.
having to work with all those people in that whole environment has got to be difficult to navigate and like make work totally. And does a pretty goddamn good job for what, you know, skills he had up to that point. It's a pretty fucking assured movie for being what, his like third or fourth?
Third.
Crazy.
Second,
Absolutely
like
crazy.
real one, but third movie.
It feels like his only goal is to just to capture like a day and like a life that like he's literally lived. So it's like if that's all you're trying to do, then it's not that it's not that hard to execute. I don't know, but if that's all you're trying to do and you execute that well, then it's like it can only be good.
But Before Sunrise, confined. 2 people in a beautiful location where you pretty much put a camera anywhere and it's going to look fucking great.
But I do want to acknowledge that there are a lot of great like camera moves, like subtle filmmaking that like it took me like 3 watches to be like, damn, they're like doing some impressive shit in this movie. Because you get so sucked into just like listening and watching them. It's like and that's a testament to how good it is. It literally took me like 3 watches to be like, right, they made a movie. Like there's construction. There's people being like, put the camera here and like crane it up now for this shot. It's just like, holy
and
fuck.
to expand on that tactile thing, that's what makes it feel so tactile is the fact that you forget it's a movie, or at least I do. I really do get lost in that film every time I return to it.
Because that's Hawk and Delpy all day though.
But
like,
see, I was gonna get to that point because I was gonna say that's what sells the entire kit and caboodle. Like it is Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy doing probably their best work they'd ever done in their whole career.
The whole trilogy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the first one.
Collective work, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you almost
even considering this one in a bubble, man.
In a bubble for sure.
Because come on, how do you sell this?
I know.
How do you have this intense reaction emotionally to this movie without those performances hinging everything?
That they're on the same plane. You literally can't view them as different.
No,
they are the most like
they are very locked into those characters.
Symbiotic, yeah. Like even. We just did the Godfather movies. Like even Al Pacino, like clearly has like that tight lock on Michael Corleone, right?
Yeah.
But I can like compare those 3 performances. They're all amazing for sure, but they feel like 3 different performances. Where like this trilogy, I know we're not supposed to talk about trilogy, but I just want to say it. Like it feels like it's the same thing actually just growing over time, and it's kind of freaky. Like actually when you start to think about it, like how to be that convincing?
Well, that's what makes these movies so special is how truly authentic they are, and they are the things that sell that authenticity more than anything else.
All right, I got 2 things. I'm going to ask them both now because I don't want to forget. One, do you think it's because of how much input that they got to have? And no, we'll start there. Do you think it's because of how much input that they got to have?
That definitely contributed. There's no way it didn't. I can't say that is 100% the responsible, cause.
I think it helps.
Yeah.
Like immensely in terms of like creating. The more natural you feel the character is, the better you're going to be able to perform. And I feel like the performances they carry the movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like him and fucking Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy could be walking in a white room and I'd still be just as entranced.
I agree.
And it's only heightened by the fact that it's in a beautiful country of Austria.
That's a great point. I read, one thing, I don't think I said this already, that they were talking about getting off the train. And like once they were like actually going to do it, they're like, that's weird. And they worked at it over and over, like Ethan and Julie talking of like what would convince Julie to get off the train. And it took like a while to get to what they do in the movie where she's like, that would get me. Like, yeah, that's interesting. Like the time travel thing, quote unquote, is how she called it. I'm like, that. So like, how much were they doing that kind of thing? Like probably the whole thing. They've said that like, or she said that she was upset that they weren't credited for the first one.
We
co-wrote.
No, they're not.
No, but they are for the next 2. But yeah, the first one they don't have a writing credit, but she's like, we wrote the movie like again.
Does Richie say that too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's like
no,
it's all them. It's all three of us.
I think that the
sure.
only reason that they didn't get credit is because of weird WGA shit.
Like by the time it was in production,
Yeah.
it was already like signed.
so
Like
they-
that's the thing is on Sunset and Sunset and Midnight, they were like actively a part of the writing
Yes.
process.
Yes.
yeah,
So they were engaged like from the start.
which
Makes
The
they,
sense.
development process.
I know that names and shit is like actually way bigger of a deal than I ever think about it in
Right.
like Hollywood and stuff. So makes sense actually.
It's so crazy actually, and then
Like,
that's
yeah, you should just be able to go boop boop, but like you can't because that means something.
yeah, right. There's papers that are signed agreeing to things. I think what's fascinating, which we keep talking about, like how real it feels, like how good they are, how captivating, is like how much they rehearsed. Because you would think, like intense rehearsals, like at some point you're gonna lose that like spark, the magic, right? But it seems counterintuitive, but like clearly it must be like it like the back of your hand, I guess. I can't recall a time where it really feels like affected and like it pulls me out where I'm like, oh, okay, this is
The only
clearly a
moment I could think
movie.
of is maybe when after they leave the record booth scene, the music keeps going and it gets like it goes loud because they're not in
Yeah,
the
but that does
diegetic booth
the montage,
and they're walking.
right?
Yeah.
But that's great.
It's great, but I guess that's the part where I could go, maybe I see the movie there.
Sure. No, that's
I
a
mean,
good point. That's a good
You
point.
lose me at guy convinces girl to get off a train in a strange country, but after that I'm all
And the
in.
guy who looks
If we're
weird
talking
as
about
Ethan
when
Hawke
you-
looks.
If we're talking about a moment where we're ever pulled out and made to like be like, right, this is a movie. At least it's that early, and you kind of have to do that to fall into the setting
Exactly.
because you literally forget that it's a movie by the time like you're in it.
Because you address at the outset, this is a movie scenario. It is a movie, and it always is being movie-ish. No conversation in the history of the world is gonna like like that. Well, because they cut around the boring bits, what would presumably be the lulls, and they're only giving you the hits.
It's like right, the movie's fucking like
it
an
jumps
hour and 40 minutes.
yeah, and it spans, as we discussed earlier, anywhere between 8 and 15 hours.
So yeah, you gotta cut around the boring shit.
Right.
But I do like that there are like they do show sometimes like the lulls or like sometimes something will be said and then neither of them knows what to say and there's like this silence and you feel like the awkwardness that they must feel because I'm like, God damn it, one of you say something.
But
When
you
they
know-
when they're on the boat towards the end and they talk about having to say goodbye to each other and
Like,
how they're going to do it, I think
realizing,
that this is a fantasy, basically.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
but I mean, it's not because it's happening
and it happened,
and it happened. But they just have to be okay
right?
with the fact that it's only going to be the
Which-
one night.
Is a real hard thing to deal with.
Yep.
We're come to terms with. I think it is. We know not everybody feels that way. Lots of people are like, yeah, totally ideal. It's like, cool. I disagree. It's like the nightmare. I like this idea that the heightened conversation. It's clearly heightened while staying in realm of reality, but still fulfilling the movie lover or the movie watcher void, right? So is it? I like this idea that it's the scenario. Like put yourself there. Like you're the one that convinced them to get off the train, and it's you're in this foreign place. You said fuck it. It's like I'm just gonna say whatever pops in my head because I'm also never gonna see this person again. You know what I'm trying to get at.
It's an opportunity to either be your most truest version
Thank
of
you.
yourself or to fabricate the version of yourself that you always wanted to be. Depends on the way you look at it.
Which the movie, I guess, kind of has that arc built in. Like at the start, they're definitely being the most showy.
Yeah,
Like I'm
they're
presenting this romantic,
Yeah.
like smart, and
they're
as the movie,
both trying to be like aloof,
Yes,
but it's
yeah.
like that doesn't work.
Like the scenes in that train car,
yeah,
like early at the front, he's
Ugh.
like, "Tell me about your first sexual feeling
Of course-
for a person."
of course, the 23-year-old American boy
Doing his
is
best
immediately.
fucking Freud or whoever the fuck.
That is
Yeah.
literally like
He brings up sex a lot.
the modern version of that is,
He does.
do you want to play 21 questions? What's your favorite color? Are you a virgin? It's like, got him. What are the other 19 questions?
Craziest place
Well,
you fucked.
that's number 3.
Actually, he does ask that.
Yes, he does.
Oh my god.
Oh, what? You didn't know Crystal? Well, I knew Crystal.
I mean, that is some shit that I would say. How many times in the movie do you guys sit there and go, I'd say that? That's
No,
something
how
I'd
many
say."
times do I sit and watch that movie and go, God damn it, did this shape what I thought dating was supposed to be for at least 5 years of my life?
5 years,
Uh-oh.
Jesse. Proud of you. It
Well,
still is.
I mean, it's probably going to be subliminal forever. And I mean, it's like, I guess if that means that I could potentially have a beautiful 24-hour excursion in Vienna one day, by all means, fine.
Right. You're prepared.
Yeah, I know what to do. But at the same time, I don't have the moxie to be like, hey, would you please get off the train, man?
Yeah. I don't think I do either.
What do you do?
I was. I passed it to you. You're supposed to pass the brain. You started to hit it. He got upset.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. This movie definitely.
This movie sucks. End podcast. Podcast. Fuck.
No, this movie definitely has dictated my brain, and I hate it for it.
Well, I think part of
But
the reason
thanks.
for that is because of how real it feels, to go back to that again.
Yeah.
But like, and I feel like I'm going to harp on that point a ton because I think that that is what makes the movie so special at the end of the day. And it's hard to be able to articulate anything else when all you're given is words. And that's like the beautiful thing about the script, and like obviously Ethan and Julie's uncredited work that we must address. But the script itself like carries the movie too. Like without the conversation having like starting points and like, you know, like we know that it's going to go in this direction and all the conversations being interesting. Obviously that hinges on the performances and the writing. But like, I don't feel like people talk about the script for this movie very much. And I have to imagine, like, do you know, was it more on the fly? Like they were figuring it out as they went using like a blueprint, or was it more like
Scripted.
it was scripted?
Scripted, rehearsed.
Damn.
Like stick to the script. We don't have the money or the time.
Right.
It's like we gotta just get in and do it.
Insanely impressive because this barely feels like written dialogue, even though when you pull yourself out of it, it's very easy to
Exactly.
notice.
Exactly.
It's just the cadence of how it's said and everything.
They're really good at making it seem like thoughts appearing to them. Like here's the thing here's the thing I was at work thinking about.
I wonder if either of them have theater experience.
You
Ethan
know,
Hawke for
the-
sure did.
There's,
I mean, yeah, he does Shakespeare and shit. I forget.
Right.
there's a quote on IMDb from Linklater. Damn it. There's a
We're
quote.
getting sluggish.
There's a quote on IMDb. It's because this is the other blunt.
Then put it out.
Oh, dude, this is the scary
put it
one.
out.
Ah,
It's clearly
almost burned myself.
put it out. It's
Never. Never.
Put it out. Ah! It hurt us. Trying to attack.
Told me no. Said, how dare you?
I
put
know.
me
So
out.
listen to
Let
it.
me live.
Not here. Not like this.
Welcome to the Before Sunrise podcast.
Yeah, I'm Frank.
There's a,
Jesse.
I'm Brandon. There's a quote on IMDb
Yeah.
from Linklater
Good job.
where they're asking him about how he feels about people saying it's improv about Before Sunrise, and he says it's a compliment when people think it's the Sunrise trilogy is improvised, but I don't think anyone could ever understand how much work it is for them. Delpy and Hawk. Delpy also explained the lack of Delpy also explained the lack of improvisation. The truth of these movies is they are tediously rehearsed, every detail planned, every overlapping line scripted. She told the Chicago Tribune in 2013. It's so precise that it's almost a joke when people think that it's acting off the cliff.
And that because I guess you learn it.
Well, it's
so
about having to
much.
be able to carry that out perfectly as an actor.
Yeah.
But then being able to know that the dialogue is going to flow in that way is like almost as if you're writing music, not a movie.
Right. It's freeing at some point because then you're just singing the song
That you know.
right.
It's like
and
I remember being in shows when I was a kid and just knowing my lines and everybody else's lines for some shows, you know,
right.
and just being able to do that thing where like, oh, here's my line, and then I'm gonna mouth your line.
Just in case you need it.
Didn't pick up on the mic.
Good. I like imagining little Jesse mouthing the lines on stage. Hilarious. Like, is he okay? Just for the audience.
Ah, man, just really in it.
Do you guys subscribe to the general notion, like, like the most like the at least the perception of something being honest or real, whatever, is always like the best art. Like it's the easiest to connect to when people are when you're being the most expressive of the self, I guess.
Well, that truth within the self
Yeah.
in your art, yes.
They
But
are.
I was about to say, I think that some of the best art is very on the surface and intentionally artificial,
Sure.
and that is what makes it good. Like,
Okay.
and what I'm saying is it could be one or the other. It's like the impetus of this movie being realistic and authentic. I think that is the goal going in, the modus operandi for Linklater and company.
I think if it wasn't, it wouldn't be this good.
No.
Like that's that's
You
like,
can't stumble upon this.
I will say any
Yeah.
movie that tries to tote itself as being real, almost instantly gets less of a fighting chance in my head.
You can't
because
say
it's
it is. You just have to try.
Yeah, that's not like I vibe with that and I fuck with that. I like trying to capture the reality of situations. But any movie that's like this is real, it makes me like it takes me out of it just a little bit because I'm like,
Totally.
well, no, it is a movie. You fucker. It's like, come on. If that's all it is,
the
it is a movie.
it's the Kubrick quote. You're taking a photograph of the photograph of reality, you know? Like, yeah, we're trying, but like it's inherently one step removed because it's not real. So it's like put it together to make it look as real as possible, but it still isn't. And then you're capturing the fake thing. So like but there are people there. I'm good on that. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
He's being patient. He was being
I
patient.
just was like, why are you looking at me?
I feel like I was
What
looking
did
with
I do?
puppy dog eyes for some reason. When I turned to Brandon, I was like, why did I look like that? I didn't even see myself in the
at
mirror.
first, but I think you just got relaxed, and that's how you ended up looking.
This blunt is insane.
I'm
It's
putting
good.
it out.
No, fuck you. Keep it going. Why? All right, so who are your guys?
Linklater is one of my guys.
Yeah.
I didn't even say that earlier, actually. That he I think he's top 5. Like after rewatching so many recently, I'm like, it's him or Michael Mann. They're both fighting for that 5th spot. But like Linklater hits a part of my heart that is so specific. And Michael Mann is just like when I'm watching, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is everything. But like on a day-to-day, like I can feel the Linklater movies like just swirling in my like being, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I just like I love that guy.
I mean, there's not a single movie of his I've seen and haven't liked.
Mhm.
I think they might all be 5ers right now, which maybe upon revision is not the case, but I just looked up my thing for Dazed and Confused, and that was 5 stars.
Yeah, you loved it when we watched it.
I love it now, after I've watched it.
It is dope.
I love it
You wanna know
now.
what's crazy, though? I love Everybody Wants Some. Everybody Wants Some. I love Everybody Wants Some even more.
Me
I
too.
wish there was something higher than 5 stars. Because, like, if that movie was liquid, I'd get that shit pumped into my brain.
I could watch that movie
Veins.
like every day, I think.
Yep.
I don't know why either. It's the only I realized when I rewatched it by myself, I was like, we talk a lot, especially after Ceci. We talk a lot about the toils of masculinity and like what's wrong with them and deconstructing it, and it's like clearly a topic of fascination.
Here we go, mansplaining
We're always
man.
doing hubris, whatever. Right, mansplaining man. But Everybody Wants Some is the most like pro like testosterone dude movie on the planet. I'm like, fuck yeah, the whole time. I'm just like, okay, go get those girls or something. I don't know. Go play baseball. Drink some beer.
I don't know. Every time someone's problematic, they end up paying for it.
I
So
will say this. I saw the movie with a girl, and she was not a fan.
Yeah.
Not
That's what I mean. It's the most pro dude movie. Not even just dude movie, like pro like guys rule
in the 80s.
And it's like,
classic.
hell
What-
yeah, they do.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
only movie I'll ever say that to. Everything else I'm like, fuck me.
I mean, it's too
for
fun. It's
existing.
just too fun of a movie.
It's
What's
so
the
pure.
antithesis of this? What's the most girl movie ever for girls only?
Oh man.
I don't know. I'm not a girl.
Yeah, I don't.
Mm.
I feel like there's.
I can't. I
have-
won't actually be able to.
have passed the test. You may enter. That was the Door to the Beyond opening for Frank.
Does it feel like every? Thank you, Beyond. Like, do I have to go in right now or?
You can wait till we're done.
Cool. Like Everybody Wants Some isn't like a widely accepted dude movie. It should be.
What do you
Calling
mean? It's
all
literally
boys.
about dudes
I know, but,
confronting
like,
dudes
nobody-
about being dudes
That
while
movie
being dudes.
came and went. Like nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Most
Dude,
people.
I saw Q&A with the cast.
That's so fucking cool.
Live?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
they were
Like
there.
you were there?
It was a special screening.
It
Early
was,
screening.
it was the guy. It was Burt Russell himself, Wyatt Russell.
seriously one of my favorite things ever. Please. No,
Okay,
just-
so when we turn, so he turns on. When we were watching Everybody Wants Some, and you know, one by one, the dudes in the house are being introduced. Jesse
We get
Points
to
out-
Willoughby.
points out what's his name in the movie?
Willoughby.
Points out Willoughby,
So
and because we had just this is like after Dirty Dancing, right? No, it's not.
No,
But
it
we
might
had
have
just
been.
watched like a Kurt Russell movie, like we did.
Kurt Russell's not in Dirty Dancing.
I know.
So I don't know what you're talking
Oh yeah, that's
No, we
Patrick
just watched Dirty
Swayze.
Dancing. What about Kurt Russell?
Listen, either way, he goes, "That's Kurt Russell's son," and I went, "Oh yeah, Bert."
No, you said Burt Russell. He said the whole name, which is the key. It's literally fucking hilarious.
Without missing a beat.
Oh yeah,
That's
Burt
Kurt Russell. That's Kurt Russell's son. Oh yeah, Burt Russell.
And it should be. They're fucking idiots.
He's like, "No, what's his name? Wyatt."
Wyatt
Yeah.
I
Russell.
was like, "That's stupid."
And then the guy who's the stand-in for McConaughey in this movie was there at the Q&A.
Who's the McConaughey stand?
The average dick dude.
Oh, Glenn Powell.
Yeah, Glenn Powell was there.
This is not an Everybody Wants a Pod. Richard Linklater. It's good director. That's how he got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
What else do we got to say? Think about it. Think about what else you guys want to. What do we? What haven't we covered?
I feel
Like with
we've covered
important stuff.
almost all the stuff.
No. I actually wanted to make a point. The reason I like this movie so much is because, like, little do people know, like, this is the only like thing I feel like I'm an unconventional person in general, so no one's never like not expecting something of me. You know, they're just like, yeah, of course, like you're weird, but like. I am a sucker for romance movies, and I feel like that's one of the things that you hear, and you're like, right, of course, but never thought of it like that. I love romance movies. Like I don't like watching them with people because that makes them worse. But when I'm by myself and I turn on like a good rom-com, I'm just like this feels good. And like romance movies, like
Always be my maybe.
Always Be My Maybe literally had me in tears before I went to go hang out with Frank. I was like, hold on, I need a minute. Gotta finish crying after watching Always Be My Maybe. I didn't think it was gonna happen.
I thought he was joking
Was
when he
not.
first said it.
It was
I was
not.
like-
I was just like, love is so nice. These people, they want to be together, and they are.
Yeah.
You can do it, guys, and they did it.
Yeah,
'Cause, you
sometimes
know,
movies can be nice.
It's a nice when you're rooting for something the whole movie, and then it happens, and it feels like, you know, it should.
It feels
But
right.
I also get like the stereotypical, like the bullshit, like just waiting to like, yep, hit the points that the romance movie does. That's why I like they came together so much because it's so fucking stupid that it just it tickles my fancy as someone who loves romance movies.
Mhm.
But this movie, I think, does the best job of being a romance movie without me ever thinking that, like, I don't know, like it only feels like it. Like it's kind of like what Jesse was saying earlier. I'm Brandon.
I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse.
What I like so much about this movie is kind of like what Jesse was saying earlier
What was
when
he saying?
was like, I hate you, where he was like, where he was like, yeah, you know, like in hindsight, like it's kind of like corny or cheesy or whatever, and like obviously like a romance movie. Like thinking back on it, like yes, but while I'm watching it, it just feels so authentic that like I'm not thinking of it like a romance movie. It's like, oh shit, well, like I'm literally just following these people, watching these people fall for each other in what feels like real time, and then like you're like, right, it's a movie, not real time, whatever. But like, to me, to able to like put me there so easily and to make me fall into like the loop, even as someone who like gets romance movies and like loves romance movies and is like waiting for all those beats to hit, it's like, I don't know, man, I just sort of like fade into it, and I really really enjoy that it does that for me. Like it doesn't try to put up these walls. They're like, no, this is what has to happen in order to make them fall in love. It's like, nah, man, they're literally just roaming the city and talking to each other, and somehow they make this like unbreakable connection.
Mostly talking about themselves, actually. Like, here's the thing I think about. Here's the thing I feel. And then, like, how does that make you feel? And often they'll just retort with, like, a new thought. And then maybe that they'll both start bouncing off that thought before a whole new thought. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I feel like that is, like, none of, like, the conversations a lot of time aren't even necessarily romantic. Like, yes, of course there are some, like the phone call that the fake phone calls, whatever. But like a lot of it is just like learning about the characters, and I feel like a lot of the romance stuff is actually delivered through physical, like acting more
Yeah.
than anything. Like like they do the glances,
Yeah, the
like
looks.
almost touching, the way they're
Yeah, when he goes for her hair in the train car, when they're in the
Right.
record booth is the big one, and like the Ferris wheel scene
But
being a
even-
predominant thing.
right, even their even like the way they like walk together and like will start like trying to like fake trip each other for like a second or like a little push, or like when there's one conversation when they were like squabbling just a little bit and then she grabs his arm and puts it around her. And I'm just like, but like the conversation doesn't even skip a beat to acknowledge it. I'm just like, that's the romance. It's just like it's just a thing that's happening.
What's the moment for each of you that hits you the hardest, as far as like of all the scenes in the movie that you can remember? What was the one that gut punches you the hardest?
I think you've asked this before, and I can't answer it
I can't.
because I think the other movies have clouded it.
Okay.
It's like I can't view a pure moment in this movie. Yeah, because it's so connected to the whole.
Interesting.
I think, especially, I don't want to say, can't say too much.
Well, maybe
I'll
Brandon,
think about it a little more.
maybe Brandon will have a better answer.
It's the poet scene. Like I know. and
That's
I-
mine too.
Yeah,
That's mine too. That's the one. That's the one.
Roommate
That's the one you
connection,
remember
roommate
forever.
Roommate connection.
Roommate
It
connection. That's
seems
the one you
like-
remember forever.
Besides the moment where they first, there's 3 moments. I don't know that feel like the most set in the reality of the situation that in the movie. Like there are 3 moments. The first moment, the one that Frank talked about earlier, when they first get off the train and they're like, "Right, this is weird." But let's do it. It's like, right, that is weird. That's the real part. It's like, yep, now we're doing it. This is weird. Then obviously at the end where they're like, right, we have to like say goodbye. This is hard. This is really hard. And then I say this scene with the poet in the middle of like where they're by the river
They were
and
just fighting.
the poet was like, give me a word, and you give me one word and I got you. And I don't remember the word.
Milkshake.
Yes,
Milkshake.
milkshake.
And he's what she was
She's-
whatever she called him a second ago. What did she say to him?
I can't remember.
Rooster prick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rooster prick?
Yeah.
What's the
I
guy
don't-
doing milkshakes?
Nothing.
She had just called him a rooster prick.
Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna say rooster prick." It's
Yeah.
like, shut up, Ethan.
Okay. Now that leads me to my second question.
Wait.
Oh, easy.
The reason that I think this scene sets the reality so much is like when he's reading the poem and then it starts to get more and more just like, oh shit, does he know what's going on right now?
Mm.
I feel myself projecting that onto that poem, and I feel them projecting that onto that poem and just being like, no, like this is real, this is happening, we're like here. And it's like something else besides us seems to be acknowledging it, and maybe we want it to be acknowledging it, and that's why it is acknowledging it. Who knows? But all I know is like me and you really are just like in this city, and we don't know each other, and like something's happening. This is weird. This is crazy, and I love it. I thought it was dope. What's your second question?
If you had to date one of them, Julie or Ethan's characters, Jesse or Celine, not Ethan or Julie, who do you think is the more dateable of the two?
I don't know.
Kind of like they're both for each other. It's like, yeah, no wonder both of your spouses broke up with you.
Fair. That's fair. I just thought if anyone had an answer, I
Do
was
you?
curious. Not particularly. I feel like I would definitely have an easier time falling in love with Julie Delpy than I would
Oh.
with Ethan Hawke.
Is that so?
Yeah, it is so.
Well, are we talking Julie and Ethan, or are we talking Jesse and Celine?
Jesse and Celine is what I mean. I'm using their actors'
Okay,
names because
okay.
I can't. I do it all the time. I bounce
know.
between both.
I know. I was just like, there is a difference.
There was a difference. Jesse and Celine. I definitely have an easier time falling in love with Celine.
I don't think I would be able to hold a conversation with either of them. Jesse would like piss me off because like
I think
it's hard for me to move past like. Actually, he is very receptive like to hearing things. You know, that sounds very broad, but I mean like thoughts that oppose his thoughts that oppose his. He is open to. He's not outright like denying them, but I feel like
right.
I would have a easier time becoming frustrated with him. Where it's just like, come on, man, get your head out of your ass. Doesn't even we could both be wrong because like that's pretty much always my take, and some people don't do that. They're like, no. If you think we're both wrong, that means I'm right, you dumb. And I feel like I wouldn't even be able to talk to Celine. Like I feel like by the time I even thought about approaching her, the look that she would give me would make me go like, right, what am I doing?
Right, but the idea is that you have to date one of them. So you have to answer.
Well, you didn't say that.
No,
I
you're
was
doing
just
a 12-year-old
bit. I just decided I wanted a wrong
All right.
answer.
Well, no, let's do it. If I have to, I still don't know. Fuck.
Well, I'm gonna go with the one that would like dating me, and I'm gonna say that that's gonna be Ethan. I mean Jesse,
I almost want to say Jesse.
the one that
Also
would like
Celine.
enjoy my time. No, me and Celine and I would clash, but like in the sense of like, no, this is just like how I like to view things, and I feel like these are fundamentally like a little different.
Maybe I'm biased because.
Or I would always feel like she's looking down on me, but we do have the same birthday, so I feel like we could like
Well, you
vibe
and
with
Julie
that.
Delpy do.
So you are just like the same sign. I don't know about your moon or your rising.
Well, no, that depends on where you're born.
Right.
Yeah.
I, you know what it is? It's if I'm being real, it's like you should say Jesse. Like you should date Jesse, but then there's the part of me that's like, you could date Celine. Come on, and it's like she'd hate me. She'd hate me.
Yeah, but it's the one. It's just
Oh.
if you got to choose, if you were the one that was like, what's
That's
better
what
for
I'm
me?
telling you. It depends on what mood I'm in that day. Am I feeling confident or am I being real with myself?
Fair.
There's my answer. But
Brandon does make a good point. They are made for each other.
of course, that's the movie character thing.
Yeah.
Like the two people find each other and they're perfectly complementary. Even when they disagree, it's still like in the realm of working with that. And there's no fault of anything. That's the movie it's telling, because that's not an impossible thing to happen.
No.
You know? Like with all the people, it's like conversation they have in the movie about souls almost. It's like it's bound to happen. This exact scenario in some way.
Fate.
What are specific conversations from the movie? Like, what are your guys' favorites, or what are the ones that stick with you? Because we haven't talked about like the too much content about what they.
The one where
say.
they're in that alleyway. I can't remember what they talk about. I just remember that scene always sticks with me.
Is that the one where he's talking about he could see himself being a dad or something?
That might be it. Yeah, that might be it.
I think
He's sitting up on that
yeah.
box, and then the one as the sun is coming up, and they walk past the window with the person playing
The harpsichord.
The harpsichord. Yeah. Oh my god,
No, that's great.
it's too much.
I really like the soul conversation that I just mentioned, and I like her. I like when they're talking about their philosophies of existence, I guess.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I'm this old woman just reliving my life, and his is like the I was never supposed to be born, so I'm lucky to have it, like gonna make a run with it. Like, yeah, the stuff that has nothing to do with the two of them theoretically, I think is like the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like the big you know what I'm
And the
saying?
phone conversation
Incredible.
where
That,
they do the faux phone calls.
I would say from like a writing perspective, it's like that's
Genius.
You're in diner scene territory.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Cinematically, and I feel like that is some bullshit cheesy thing you would do on a first date if it was going well. Because I feel like no one would vibe with that if you were not on like a good date.
Right.
You know? Like, what do you did you put your hand down?
This sucks.
I'm calling my friend, get me out. Oh.
Oh.
Never mind.
I was just joking. BB?
I'd say their first real argument before they run into the poet.
Which one is that?
I don't remember. I
Is
just
that when
remember
she has his like coat on?
I just remember that
Or they're
feeling. Like,
wrapped in his coat together or something. I can't remember.
to me, it felt like, all right, this is you actually getting to know each other because you're finding things you don't like, and that's like kind of the important part.
Was it about the psychic? Is that when
Yes.
she brings
Oh,
up like I don't
yes.
like how you were,
Handled
which like
that, yeah.
which like
He was being a dick.
yeah, and then I'm just like, you thank you for bringing it up, and then they have like it's of course it's not all perfect, which adds to the authenticity.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Like
though. I
right,
do
like
feel
there are things that they fundamentally disagree on, but they
Right.
are able to move past it. I feel like if I had that conversation with Julie Delpy, I'd be like, "You're being stupid," and
Well,
then
see,
I would stop.
do you
I wouldn't
think-
be that harsh and that mean, obviously, but I just feel like I wouldn't get to like the. Well, I guess if I ran into a beautiful poet who explained my situation almost word
No,
for
because
word
he
with
does
only
the
a
same thing
milkshake.
to the poet. He goes, well, he already has that pre-written, and he just plugs in the word.
It's literally they're both aware that it's the 24-hour span. Like they can just do, like you said, like you could either be the truest person or the most performative. And I think that the interesting thing is, no matter what, it is a movie, so it's always a performance.
Right.
But I think that the characters themselves, if we're thinking of it from the narrative perspective, they definitely open up more throughout the course of the movie. And I think that he's probably at a point eventually where he's so comfortable, like that he can just be whoever he wants to be, which is himself and her too. But I don't know who's more performative from the top to the bottom. He feels overtly performative at the front,
yeah.
but like as it moves on, like I said, like putting out things like that, like that, almost like confrontational ideas like that, and it almost sounds like that snooty, like intellectual, like ooh, like that's so beneath me or some bullshit. It's like,
Sure.
yeah, okay, guy, fine.
I think I think they're actually probably pretty equal, right? That's what makes it work. Like I'm talking the performative versus the authentic.
Yes,
Like inevitably, I agree that he comes on much stronger, but it's still probably matched because they got different energies,
yeah, totally.
And Ethan Hawke's the loud American. It's good. Is there what else? Anything? Is there anything y'all need to get off your chest? Because I know the fun question to ask Brandon, or should I wait to do that?
Later,
Okay.
What do you mean?
Do you know what I'm referencing?
I'm assuming.
Okay. I did it last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, I think we should be blunt.
Oh yeah. I literally forgot that's how. Yeah, let's get blunt, baby.
Let's get blunt.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious what's about to happen.
I'll
I mean,
start
yeah.
then.
It's-
The movie's rocks. The movie's rocks. It's so dope.
There's
It's
so
just
many
like,
rocks.
It's nice, and there actually are a decent amount of rocks if you watch. And
There
in
are.
Venetia, they fucking
in where?
it's Venetia.
Oh, you messed up, buddy.
Vienna?
Fuck.
That's what I was like. Is he?
A lot of the buildings in Vienna are made out of stone, cobblestone. And in case you didn't know, Daniel Day-Lewis is a cobbler, not the pastry dish.
The taste.
Okay, so anyway, what's
I love it. I love this movie. I would put it in the canon if you'd let me, but
What would you grade it?
I gave it a 5.
5 out of 5.
It might have to change depending on the other movies.
Mm-mm. Jesse,
Yeah, it's in the canon. If it's up to me,
what do you
but
grade
it's
it?
not. I give it a 5.
All right. Yeah, I'm at a 5, and I say it should be in the canon.
Pew, pew, pew.
As far as like pure romance movies go, I think there's nothing better.
Is there any other pure romance movie in the canon?
That's a Wonderful Life comes close.
Comes
It's
close.
not a
but
pure
it's not.
romance movie. It's all
I'm
about
talking-
George.
I don't even mean in the canon. I'm talking about of like all movies. Like as far
Yeah,
as
I
like
was just
this
asking.
type of film goes, I think this is the king of its genre.
Then
because
it's good
Sunset
that this
and
is the
Midnight
first
are
real one.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Love, baby.
That's my
So that's in
question.
the canon.
It's in the
Yeah,
canon.
officially?
baby.
Canon.
So I
Hell
think
yeah.
now, Frank, you should prompt your question for Brandon.
So Brandon hasn't seen Sunset or Midnight, and we're not allowing him to look anything up. Please tell me you haven't.
Why would I
boy.
want to?
I know. So we're trying to let him have the authentic experience as much as possible. We're trying to recreate how it would be because me and Jesse can't, but Brandon can. So, Brandon,
Beautiful. I wish I was in your shoes.
all you know is 9 years later, and it's called Before Sunset. What do you think it's about or is going to happen?
Before
Or
sunset. All right. So I'm thinking that now it's the opposite situation. 9 years later, they're in their early 20s the last
Nope.
time. So
Oh,
what?
yeah. Okay. Yes. They were
Jumping
23.
ahead.
They're in their
Sorry.
early 20s the last time, so they're going to be in their early 30s this time.
Correct.
So, in that line of thinking, I'm thinking that, they both are working, jobs that they're not in love with, but they're somewhat ambitious about because they think it'll lead them on the road to better things, sort of gritting your teeth while, to see the light at the end of the tunnel sort of deal. But I think that it's going to be the opposite this time. Instead of him being in Europe, she's going to be in America, and they're going to be like on the subway, and he's going to look up and he's going to be like, is that her? Like, no. I've thought it was her so many times. It can't be her. And then he's like, I got to get out this train. And then he gets out the train and there she is. She knew it was him. And she was like, I'm not letting this pass by. Like, hey, Jesse, is that you?
It is me.
Jesse James, is that you? And he like does like the left shoulder turn where he's like, it is. It is me. Oh my God. Julie, Celine. Serene. It's so good to see you.
Celine. Mighty fine.
And then, but here's the thing. It's a little bit more complicated now because they're in not very cool relationships. They're in some relationships where it's like, yeah, like, this is good. Like, I enjoy this person. They're very nice. But, once they see each other, they're like, oh, I forgot that this is, or actually they didn't forget that this is what they've always wanted. And now there's confliction. So at first it's just like, oh, you just want to grab a coffee real quick? Just want to grab a little coffee? Grab a little coffee? We'll catch up. How you been? How's your mom? It's probably going to be like one of those, but then like, probably only 2 or 3 sips into that coffee, they're going to be like, right. Us before sunrise. We've done this before. And then it's going to be a walk around New York City. That's right, because I said the subway, and that's only in New York. It's going to be them walking around New York. There's going to be a scene in Times Square where he's like, you ever had a big pretzel? And she's like, no, I'm from Europe.
You don't have to get this specific. You're literally writing the movie.
I love your Julie Delpy voice.
So yeah, something along those lines. The broader version is that I think that it's gonna be them. It's gonna basically be the opposite. Them both in relationships, meeting in America.
Okay. We are going to have to make sure that you re-listen to this after we watch
The
Sunset.
movie.
So then we can talk about it on the episode.
You don't have to go that into detail.
You literally just started writing the movie.
You ever had a big pretzel before? No, I'm from Europe. Dude, they were just in Austria, you fucking...
That's Europe.
That's the pretzels. They're even bigger there.
I'm sweating.
This has been the Chronic Canon.
Yeah, do we have
Thank you
any-
all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this chaotic
Yeah.
episode. Maybe the most chaotic episode.
We
we've
say
ever
that
done.
every fucking episode.
That's because when Jesse edits it, he makes us all sound like a little bit more nice and proper. So thank you, future Jesse. Thank you, current Jesse, too. But also future Jesse.
Yeah, you're welcome. Both times.
Okay, we're done.
I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Brandon. We're signing off.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wait a future.
Way future. Goodbye.
Were there any other ones?
No.
Okay.
Goodbye. Benicio.